Economists call it the informal economy, but the term doesn't fully capture what it is. Some parts are harmless: street vendors, small, unregistered businesses, or barter networks. But other parts turn into something far more powerful: entire financial ecosystems operating beyond regulation, oversight, taxation, or accountability. In the 1970s, prominent development economists like Hernando de Soto tried to map these hidden systems. Early studies found something shocking. In many countries, the shadow economy was almost as large as the official one. Fast forward to today. The International Monetary Fund estimates that more than 30% of global economic activity is off the books. Global Financial Integrity estimates illicit financial flows drain $1 to $2 trillion a year from developing countries alone. And the World Bank reports that nearly half of workers worldwide operate outside formal employment systems. This isn't fringe, it's not a theory. It's measurable, just not easily visible. And yet, while economists debate numbers, ordinary citizens stay preoccupied with political soundbites, breaking news cycles, and the illusion that governments can fix everything by adjusting tax rates or passing new budgets. But the real story lies deeper. Shadow economies don't appear out of nowhere. They grow out of pressure created by governments themselves. Here's the cause and effect pattern. Heavy bureaucracy makes legal business expensive. When it takes months to get a permit or costs a quarter of someone's income just to register a shop, people start operating outside the system. High taxes incentivize underreporting. In countries where small businesses face burdensome taxes, many simply avoid the system entirely. Corruption accelerates the shift. When officials demand bribes for routine paperwork, people retreat to informal networks where money flows freely and safely, just not visibly. Trust in institutions erodes. The more citizens avoid the formal system, the weaker it becomes, creating a feedback loop. Thus begins the shadow. At first, it seems harmless, a marketplace workaround. But it grows. Over time, the informal networks learn something crucial. Operating outside the state is faster, cheaper, and more responsive. That's when things shift. What begins as a workaround evolves into unregulated lenders, unrecorded supply chains, untaxed products, counterfeit goods, cash-only sectors, capital flight channels, political corruption pipelines. And once enough money flows through these channels, they gain influence. Influence becomes power. Power becomes permanence. By the 1990s, economists began noticing something else. Nations with large shadow economies experienced slower development, weaker institutions, and rising inequality. Not because their citizens were lazy, but because enormous portions of national wealth were escaping official circulation. But the public rarely hears this. Instead, they hear, budget deficits are rising, government revenue is falling, we must cut services. Meanwhile, billions travel through unmonitored routes. A shadow economy becomes dangerous the moment it begins undermining the official one. Examples around the world show the same pattern. Tax bases collapse, forcing governments to borrow more. Infrastructure weakens because real economic activity isn't being measured. Public trust decays because citizens see corruption but not the hidden flows behind it. Political elites exploit loopholes, knowing the public's attention is elsewhere. When this reaches the breaking point, nations face crises that seem to appear out of nowhere. But they never come out of nowhere. The warning signs were always there, just buried under distractions. When a shadow economy gets too large, hospitals lose funding, schools deteriorate wages, stagnate inflation, accelerates public debt, spikes investment, declines. Governments respond with predictable and often failing fixes. Failed FIX number 1, raising taxes. This only pushes more activity into the shadows. Failed fix number 2, increasing enforcement crackdowns rarely work if corruption remains. Failed fix number 3, borrowing more money. Debt fills the gap temporarily but creates long-term instability. Countries trapped in this cycle often experience alternating periods of growth and collapse. Each recovery hiding the fact that the underlying leak continues. Shadow economies aren't just street markets anymore. They've evolved. Today, they include offshore tax havens, crypto laundering networks, shell companies, unregulated digital marketplaces, high-speed capital flight channels, sophisticated political corruption schemes. According to the Tax Justice Network, over $10 trillion is currently held offshore, wealth removed from national economies entirely. This is the modern shadow, global, digital, fast, and invisible to most citizens. It's no longer an underground market, it's a parallel financial universe. And while people debate elections, media scandals, and cultural battles, the real story continues quietly in the background. Takeaway 1. Shadow economies form when citizens lose trust in formal institutions, not because people are bad, but because systems fail them. Takeaway 2. Once informal networks become more efficient than official ones, wealth begins flowing away from the nation itself. Takeaway 3. Modern shadow economies are global and digital, making them harder to regulate and far more powerful than the informal markets of the past. If you want more deep dive breakdowns like this, exploring the hidden forces behind economic systems, global wealth flows, and the stories that never make the headlines, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because the next episode, we're going even deeper.